Stupid is as stupid does, or so the saying goes. Dr. Sanjay Gupta posted an article here online, The Hidden Dangers in Vitamins and Supplements, ? And here's what they say. Vitamins and supplements could do more harm than good in some cases, according to a new report in Consumer Reports. And they go on to say, in the September issue of Consumer Reports, they investigate 10 unknown dangers associated with taking vitamins, minerals, herbs, and nutritional supplements. And then they say that between 2007 and 2012, the Food and Drug Administration received more than 6,300 reports of serious adverse effects linked to dietary supplements, including vitamins and herbs. The reports include 115 deaths and 2,100 hospitalizations. Well, that's just a lie, because if that was correct, why didn't the Food and Drug Administration take steps to sanction the vitamin companies, or why didn't the people who died, why didn't their families institute legal matters against the vitamin companies that made them? That would have been frontline news. It didn't happen. Supplements should only be taken when there is a true deficiency, a doctor says. His name is Mosquera. And people should talk to their doctors before starting a supplement. This is unbelievably insane. Why on earth would anybody talk to an MD about a nutritional supplement? Because your MD has no clinical experience, no knowledge, no practical application, no respect, has had zero anything to do with vitamins, minerals, nutritional supplements. They have no education in medical school, no clinical experience. They don't go to medical nutrition conferences because they don't exist. So asking your medical doctor for advice about vitamins and minerals and supplements is a fool's errand. It's as if somehow magically, by donning the white coat and putting the stethoscope around their neck, they're endowed with all of the knowledge in the universe. That's what we think. Here's what they say, which is incidentally ludicrous. Quote, supplements and vitamins should never be a substitute for a healthy lifestyle with a nutritional plan. He says, he adds that it is better to get vitamins from healthy eating than from taking supplements. Well, that's just absolutely positively incorrect, because it is impossible to satisfy all of your body's nutritional demands just from eating from the 4 food groups. That's why, in fact, we must supplement. Because the vitamins and especially the minerals are no longer in the foods. They never were to begin with, not 100%. It is impossible to secure your body's nutritional needs, 100% of your nutritional needs, from eating food. You cannot do it. It is impossible. And here it is. Consumer Reports says that supposedly some natural products are laced with the same active ingredient in prescription drugs. Or see that they say supposedly, right? And people often experience unwanted side effects. This is PR double talk and this is a legal way of stating a fact presumptively without having any body of evidence to support it. This is what politicians do all of the time when they're campaigning. They put their words together in such a way as to think that it means one thing when legally it means something else. And furthermore, they go on to say, the high doses of vitamins and minerals in some supplements present another danger. People that take more than 100% of the recommended daily intake of a nutrient could have adverse reactions. What do you mean, could have? If there's a problem with the nutritional supplement, it should say will have. But they don't. They say could have, which is like saying the atoms in your living room could spontaneously form themselves into a grand piano. Well, you're right. That could happen. The sun could come up in the west tomorrow morning. Well, you're right. If the poles shift, that could happen. Probably not likely that it's going to happen, though, right? And so forth and so on. We really, when it comes to mainstream media giving us advice about vitamins and minerals, you must be very, very, very suspicious. Why? Because the medical industry in the United States, including the media, are owned by the pharmaceutical companies and the international corporations. They're all in bed together. And do you think on God's green earth that they are going to give you the factual information about vitamins, minerals, and essential nutrients? Now, let's really kind of take a step back and look to see what's really going on here. The subtext of this article is that you must be the consumer reporting agency is looking out for your health, right? They're the gatekeepers for your consumer needs. They're the people that are telling you about the good stuff, and they're the people that are telling you about the bad stuff. So they allude to the fact, but they don't have any supporting data to support their ludicrous notion that 115 people died from vitamins and minerals over the course of 5 years actually. From 2007 to 2012. They don't give any particulars. And then they completely overlook the fact that 780,000 people a year are killed by MD treatments. 780,000 people are killed by MD treatments. And that information was in fact published in the Journal of the American Medical Association, the Lancet, and the New England Journal of Medicine, plus a host of others. And you can read that document on the front page of drglidden.com, or better yet, fireyourmdnow.com. The facts are in, ladies and gentlemen. It is academic. It is not debatable. If the consumer reporting industry, agency, magazine, whomever they are, was really looking out for your safety, then there would be a gigantic expose every month about the unbelievable failures and unbelievable dangers of the pharmaceutical industry. But they don't. They put up smoke and mirrors about the potential dangers of vitamins. They use double talk and legalese to say one thing while they mean another, and try to convince you to be afraid of vitamins. And furthermore, to go to a medical professional who has no training in nutrition for advice about nutrition. And you buy it hook, line, and sinker. Because most people in this country don't even have a 5th grade education level. You're reading at a 5th grade level. We're too busy with our lives. We're too busy paying mortgages. We're too busy trying to get the bills paid. We're too busy trying to eke out an existence in this crazy country where the only people that have it going for them are in the top 1/10 of 1%. Everybody else is struggling. We're losing the middle class. Our health is going to hell in a handbasket. We're getting sicker and sicker every year. Oh, it must be the bad gene. Oh, it must be those vitamins. Don't take your vitamins. Can't be the MD. Can't be the emperor medical deity, the be-all, end-all, alpha and omega know-it-alls of all science. Can't be those guys. Those guys are infallible, right? No, it's not correct. The best thing that you can do for your health is do exactly the opposite of whatever somebody in a white coat with an MD after their name tells you to do. Unless they're an emergency room doctor and you're bleeding to death, that's what they're good for. They're good for a handful of infectious diseases. They're good for surgery when surgery is necessary. Oftentimes it's not. But not knowing any of this and being in the grips of the Machiavellian, out-of-control medical industry, they will print whatever they want to print, even if it's lies. They will print whatever they want to print, even though it pushes the truth with fuzzy logic. They will print whatever they put on TV or whatever they want to put and pitch it in a way that makes them legally okay, but not morally okay. And nobody calls them on it. It's just infuriating to me that this nonsense is even allowed to go into print, quite frankly. And, I was talking to a couple of patients a few days ago, elderly people in, our parents' generation, people in their 60s and 70s, and, they both had bad arthritis problems, and they'd been struggling with all of this stuff for years. And they were giving me the 5th degree about the vitamin supplements. Oh, what's in these vitamins? And I had to say to them, well, do you have a degree in biochemistry? No. Do you have a medical degree? No. Do you have a degree in pharmacy? No. Do you have any college education even whatsoever? No. None of us went to college. We just graduated high school. We've worked all our lives. And I said, well, then what possible understanding could you bring to the table to help you understand what's in my vitamins? What could you possibly learn from reading what's on the labels of my the vitamins and minerals and essential fatty acids that I'm recommending? Well, we want to do our own research. Oh, well, okay, so what are you going to do? Go to the internet? And you're going to, read something that some knucklehead with a website wrote, and you're going to believe that person over the opinion of a licensed naturopathic physician, someone trained in vitamins and mineral supplements who's not making any money from the sale of the vitamins and minerals, you're going to discount that completely, or you're going to put that into the questionable box and then you're going to try to figure it out all on your own? You're telling me that you're skeptical? You're not skeptical. You're a closed-minded conformist, and you're going to die. But before you die, you're going to suffer. Why are you going to suffer? Because you're a closed-minded conformist. Why didn't you ask your MD everything that you're asking me about statin drugs? You've been on statin drugs for 5 years. Why didn't you ask your MD? Why did he prescribe the statin drug? What's the research behind the statin drug? How does the statin drug work? What's the biochemistry of the statin drug? And what net negative side effects do the statin drugs produce? Why didn't you ask him that? Oh, well, because he's our doctor. He knows best. Oh, really? You're on hydrochlorothiazide. This is a blood pressure medication which after you take it for 5 years produces type 2 diabetes. Has any of your physicians done a hemoglobin A1C test to see what your blood sugar is like? Oh, no, we don't know about that. We just trust our doctor. People think that they're skeptical, but they're not. If everybody in this country started asking hardball questions to their MDs, started holding the Consumer Report's feet to the fire, to get them to show you the numbers, to get them to back up what they're saying with documented evidence, that's one thing. But nobody does that. We all go down the bridle trail wherever the guy in the white coat and the stethoscope leads us. And quite frankly, the only satisfaction I have in watching this ridiculous parade is that the people who are following this advice will eliminate themselves from the gene pool so the rest of us can move on into the wonderful world of health. It's a free country, more or less, ladies and gentlemen. More or less, it's a free country. If you want to believe the pill pushers, if you want to believe the surgeons, if you want to believe the people that are the leading cause of death in the United States, if you want to believe the people who have consistently failed to find a cure for any chronic illness, go right ahead. It's a free country. If you want to leave all that nonsense behind, you've come to exactly the right place, and to prove it, we're going to go right to the phones. Al is calling back with an osteoarthritis update. Al, you are live with Dr. Glidden. Welcome back.
Oh, thanks, Dr. Glidden.
So how goes the battle, man? What's happening?
I think it's improving a little bit. You had wanted me to keep track of when I went to bed, and I guess when it first started hurting.
Yeah.
When I was in bed there, and, I kept track of all the time. I usually go to bed around 9:30 there, and about 9:52 is, I figured I averaged out the time is when it would hurt. But, it never prevented me from sleeping or anything. It just kind of aches.
So about an hour after you went to bed, the pain kicks up a notch or two, right?
Yeah. I read before I go to bed, and then when I'm in bed there, and it kind of aches there.
Yeah. Now, what about during the daytime? Is there any aggravation in the arthritic pain during the day, or is it kind of relative to what you're doing with your body?
Kind of what I'm doing with my body. It aches a little bit when I, get up in the morning there, but, really doesn't start aching until when I'm ready for bed there. Okay, so how long ago did you start with me, Al? I started on May 22nd.
Okay, so if on a scale of 1 to 10, your arthritic pain was a 10, where would you put it now?
Oh, probably 2 or 3.
All right. So it's gone from a 10 down to a 2 or 3 in 3 months. That's pretty good, right?
Right.
All right. Has anything else improved? Your mood, your energy, your sleep, your appetite, your weight? Anything else come along for the ride?
My energy has improved in the last 3 or 4 weeks, but, one of the other things I called was the headaches and that. They've actually gotten worse here in the last 2 or 3 weeks.
Your headaches have gotten worse?
Yes.
All right, that's a very interesting thing to talk about. So here's what I want you to understand about that, okay? If you're driving around in an old rickety car that hasn't been tuned up in 5 years, it's got 300,000 miles on it, and man, it's just in bad shape across the board. It's got bad shocks. It's got bad springs. The tires are bald. It hasn't been tuned up. One of the spark plugs is dead. One of the spark plug wires is missing. The oil is in serious need of being changed, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You get used to knowing what it's like to drive around in a crappy car. You just kind of get used to it. Now, so your brother-in-law comes over to visit you for Thanksgiving, and he takes hard on you and goes outside one afternoon and starts to tune the car up. So he fixes the spark plug, fixes the spark plug wire, changes the oil, changes out the fluids, but he doesn't have time to get to the suspension or the tires, right? When you start driving around in a car that's been tuned up, all of a sudden you're going to start to feel the problems with the tires and the problems with the suspension, because now the car is running a lot more smoothly and efficiently than it did before, and the few things now that are a problem are going to stand out in bold face. This is a very interesting phenomenon that happens quite regularly to people who clean their diet up and start providing their body with the nutrients that their body needs. Your system brightens up. Switches that have been turned off for a long time turn on. In your system, you start to become aware of things of which you were not aware before. So, often with the presentation of headaches like this, getting worse while the arthritic stuff is getting better, usually that's an indication that you are eating or drinking stuff that you are allergic to. And it's the stuff that you are eating or drinking that's making the headaches flare up, but you just didn't have a purchase on that before because you were overwhelmed by everything else. So the next time, for the next 3 or 4 times, Al, that you get a headache, I want you please to write down on a piece of paper everything that you just had to eat or drink. So if you get a headache at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I want you to write down what you had to eat and drink for lunch. If you get a headache at 8 o'clock at night, I want you to write down what you had to eat or drink for dinner. And, if you get a headache after you've snacked on something, then I want you to write that down too. And I want you to keep that running list. And after you've done that for 3 or 4 days, after 3 or 4 headaches, there should be foods on that list that are similar. If there are, then probably you are having some type of an allergic reaction from those foods. And so the strategy here to take your health to the next level, in addition to leaving off of my 10 bad foods, you need to also leave off the foods that are aggravating the head pain. So check that out. Give that a try. Give me a call back with a report in about 7 days. I believe Robert is up with a question about prostate problems. Robert, you are live with Dr. Glidden. Welcome aboard.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, sir. They had said they had run tests on me, that they found spots on my prostate, and I have cancer, and they want to do chemo radiation. And I refused that.
Smart man. What did they say when you refused it?
They wanted to start chemo treatment as soon as I give them the okay, and I would not give them the okay.
Yeah, okay. See, this is the thing, and this is one of the reasons how MDs get people to do things, because they don't ask them or have conversations about it. They just tell people what to do and expect everybody to toe the line. Now, Robert, I wrote a book. It's called The MD Emperor Has No Clothes. And in that book, I have a chapter on cancer, and in that chapter, I have 10 questions that every cancer patient should ask their oncologist. Simple questions like, Doctor, is this treatment going to cure my cancer? Well, it's not going to cure my cancer, doctor, then why are you giving it to me? And if it's not going to cure it, what can I expect? And what kind of side effects is this treatment going to engender? And will this treatment, is it possible for this treatment to give me cancer? And if this treatment hurts me irreparably, do I have any legal rights in suing you or the hospital, or am I going to have to sign waivers? So that if my brain falls out after the chemotherapy, because of a mistake, if the radiation burns a hole into my intestinal tract, which happened with one of my patients, and he died from an infection, am I going to have any legal recourse? And, so forth and so on. And I've had patients kicked out of oncologists' offices just for asking these simple, straightforward questions. Oh, by the way, doctor, how much will you profit from this ineffective therapy that you're recommending that I take? And, the Journal of Clinical Oncology in 1997, I believe, published a study that showed that 97% of the time chemotherapy for adult-onset cancer doesn't work. And why in Europe do they do prostate intervention 1,000 times less than we do in the United States? Can you answer me these questions, doctor? Of course they can't. So good for you for taking a stand. Good for you for just saying no. Good for you for firing your MD, because they've got nothing for prostate cancer. Nothing. Zero. You know, remove the prostate. Well, that's a solution. It's not a very good solution, though. Now, remember, Robert, nobody in this country except an oncologist can treat cancer. It's against the law. So I can't tell you that I can treat cancer. I can't tell you what to do to fix your cancer, because that's against the law and I can't do it. But I can tell you what I would do to support and promote the health of my own body if I was diagnosed with cancer. I'll tell you exactly what I would do to support and promote the health of my body in the face of a cancer diagnosis. I would clean my diet up 100%. I would immediately stop eating all of the 10 bad foods. You can download there. I'll send you the 10 bad food list for free. If you go to my website, fireyourmdnow.com, and I'll opt into my free email, once-a-month email newsletter. Just opt in. It's right there on the front page. Give me your first name and your email address, and I'll automatically send you my list of 10 bad foods. 10 foods that I want you to stop eating immediately, number one. Number two, what I would do is I would load my body up with a product called Fucoid, Fucoidin. This is a biochemical extracted from a sea vegetable, and the only company that I know of that makes this in the United States is a company called Escape. You can purchase this through the Longevity Company, and the name of the supplement is Z-Radical. Z-Radical. If you can afford it, I would take 10 bottles of Z-Radical a month. That's what I would do. I would get 10 bottles of Z-Radical and take 1/3 of a bottle every day. I would drink 11 ounces of Z-Radical every day. And I would, divide that up. I do 4 ounces, 4 ounces, and 3 ounces. I would do 11 ounces of Z-Radical every day. In addition to that, I would do 12 Ultimate Selenium supplements every day, 12 Ultimate Selenium supplements every day. And finally, if it's in the budget, and I'm giving you these things in the order of importance. So the first thing that I would do is the Z-Radical. The next thing that I would add on, if I can afford it, is the Ultimate Selenium. And the last thing that I would add on, if I could afford it, would be 1 Healthy Start Pack per 100 pounds of body weight per month. So that's 10 bottles of Z-Radical. If you can't afford 10 bottles, get 9. If you can't afford 9, get 8. If you can't afford 8, get 7, and so forth and so on. That's what I would do to support and promote the health of my body in the face of diagnosis of cancer. The MDs have completely let us down in this regard. We've thrown $1 trillion at cancer research, and the only thing they can come up with is hack off the breasts, hack off the skin, hack off the liver, hack off the prostate. And it may interest you to know that had you been taking 200 micrograms of selenium, which is dirt cheap, by the way, 200 micrograms of selenium cost $24 a month. If you had been doing that your entire life, you would have reduced your chances of getting prostate cancer by 69%. That was published in the December 1998 issue of the Journal of the American Medical Association. The author was Larry Clark. 69% reduction in the chance of you even getting prostate cancer. Inquiring minds want to know, why didn't your family physician tell you this? As far as I'm concerned, it's medical malpractice. But, you can't sue these people because they are ironclad, because they work inside of their scope of practice, and their scope of practice is archaic and outdated and dangerous. So good for you, Robert, for firing your MD. Better for you for calling me up. And now we're going to see if we can turn it into a perfect trifecta. Get the Z-Radical, get the Ultimate Selenium, and get the Healthy Start Packs. Clean up your diet. Get down on your knees and pray, and hopefully you will get on the other side of this illness. And remember, we're not treating cancer. we're supporting and promoting your body's ability to recover its health and to make itself healthy. So God bless you and good luck. Give me a call back in 4 weeks with an update, because I'd like to pay attention to these things. Thank you so much for calling. Frances is up next. Frances is calling with a question about her vision. Frances, you're live with Dr. Glidden.
This is Frances, you're Frances, but I'm calling. I have my cousin on the line who has an issue that needs to be discussed, and his name is John, and I'd like you to talk to him, please. I'm on the line with him so that I can write for him because his vision is not good.
All right, John, welcome aboard. Dr. Glidden here. How can I help?
John, are you there? John, are you there? He was on a minute ago. I don't know what happened, Doctor.
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, John, are you there? Okay, yes,
okay.
You're on.
All right, John, you're live with Dr. Glidden. Nice to meet you. How can I help?
Pleasure. Okay, I have a primary issue of optic neuritis and a secondary issue that was produced because of some drops, one of which was a steroid, and the secondary issue was right angle glaucoma.
Yeah.
Okay, now also I have sugar diabetes and high blood pressure.
Okay. So all of these are different arms of the same octopus. These are all different arms of the same octopus. All of these conditions are either caused by or set up to happen because of chronic nutrient deficiencies, number one, and number two, because you have unwittingly been eating food that's causing inflammation. Now, optic neuritis and glaucoma, the presumptive major causes of these conditions are inflamed blood vessels and inflamed nerve tissue in and around the eye. The inflammation is caused by oxidative damage. So the strategy here is to eliminate foods that are causing the oxidative damage, number one. Number two, to take supplements that help to put out those fires, put out those oxidative damage fires. And number three, provide your eyes with the nutrition that they need in order to bounce back. You're going to need to do all three of these things or it's a fool's errand. It will not work, right? You know, we have to be smart about this. If we're trying to put a forest fire out, for instance, you know, we have to cut a line in the forest so that the fire will burn itself out while we're dumping water on the fire from helicopters. We've got to do both things in order to effectively put the fire out. So you need to do the diet change, you need to increase your consumption of antioxidants, and you need to do the supplements. So here I'm going to line it up for you right away. How much do you weigh, by the way?
228 pounds.
Okay, how tall are you?
6'2".
All right, so what's a good fighting weight for you? About 200 pounds?
Yeah, 215 or so.
All right,
Probably.
so you're not that much overweight. Okay, all right. So here's what we need to do. Francis, he needs to avoid all 10 of the bad foods, number one. He must avoid all 10 of our bad foods. Number two, he needs to educate himself about what foods that are on the good food list are high in antioxidants. And your goal needs to be 100,000 ORAC points of antioxidants a day. 100,000 ORAC points. Antioxidants are measured by their ORAC score. Vitamins are measured by their milligram. Antioxidants are measured by their ORAC score. So you need to secure 100,000 ORAC points of antioxidants a day. You can do that with chocolate. You can do that with walnuts. You can do that with green tea. You can do that with some coffee. You can do that with red wine. You can do that with curry powder and cinnamon and blueberries and blackberries, etc., etc., etc. So certain foods are loaded with antioxidants. So you need to figure out what those foods are and start eating a lion's share of them. All right, number two. Number three, the nutritional supplements that you need are as follows. At 200 pounds, it would be 2 anti-aging healthy start packs, 2 anti-aging healthy start packs per month, 5 bottles of Ultimate Selenium per month, 5 bottles of Ultimate Selenium per month, and 1 bottle of Ultimate Daily Capsules. That's 1 bottle of Ultimate Daily Capsules, 5 bottles of Ultimate Selenium, and 2 anti-aging healthy start packs per month. Take those nutritional supplements Clean up your diet, eliminate the 10 bad foods, and Francis will tell you what those are. And in addition, start leaning heavily on the consumption of food and beverage that are high in antioxidants, and you're going to watch your vision come back slowly. No pun intended. You're going to watch your vision come back slowly. It's as predictable as gravity. Giving you all the news that's really fit to print, unlike our foes in Consumer Reports. For goodness sake, that really got under my skin, that type of false information. It's just, what's the term? Propaganda. Oh, yeah, that's the term. Propaganda. You kidding me? 780,000 people last year died because they went to MDs. No change at all in the rate of people getting heart disease. No change at all in the rate of people getting cancer. We're apparently okay with this. And this was reported in USA Today about a month ago. Hospitals have now eclipsed heart disease as the third leading cause of death, cancer as the third leading cause of death in the United States. Now hospitals kill more people than cancer does. So why doesn't Consumer Reports do a legitimate article about the danger of hospitals? Why don't they do a legitimate article about the danger of prescription medication, which there are over 50 class action lawsuits right now? 50 class action lawsuits against the manufacturers of drugs which were approved by the FDA and then which turned around and killed people or harmed people. So much so that there are class action lawsuits against them. Oh, we give those people a pass. But we're going to make up stuff about vitamins in order to gin up fear amongst the uninformed. I don't know who lets people get away with this. I don't know why people can get away with this type of nonsense. But it is laughable and it is inexcusable. And, thank God for karma, because it's going to get them. The karma is going to get these people. And you know why? Because the people that wrote that article are going to come down with a health issue which would be easy as sin to fix with medical nutrition. And because they are colorblind against it, because they wrote a ridiculous article like this, they will suffer. They will suffer the influence of MD-directed pharmaceutical centrist surgical medicine, and then they will die. It can't be soon enough as far as I'm concerned. Right now, we're going right back to the phones. We're going to talk to Herb, who's calling in with some alternative prostate advice. What do you got for me, Herb? What's going on?
Yes, Dr. Glidden. What it is, I need to get a product. In other words, I'm taking the OsteoFX Plus, but it seems like it's too sweet for me. And also I got another question. If the cholesterol is 425, what problems can that cause?
Well, nothing. High cholesterol in and of itself is irrelevant. High cholesterol is like the warning light on the dashboard, the check engine light. The little light isn't dangerous to the car at all, but it's an indication that something's going on. So when cholesterol is that high, and that's pretty high, quite frankly, it's usually an indication that there is something going on with your liver. So responsible physician who doesn't have a brain the size of a pea, maybe your doctor is lucky and has a brain the size of a walnut, a responsible physician who has anybody with cholesterol levels that high would run a hepatitis panel. So has anybody looked at your liver function? Has anybody done that? Do you know?
Well, for the cholesterol problem, I was calling in for a cousin of mine. I was trying to get the information from him.
Yeah, all right. So you want to make sure your cousin is checked for hepatitis, number one, and number two, you want to make sure he is checked for any type of a digestive difficulty, right? So he wants to be checked for hepatitis and any type of a digestive difficulty. Those are the two biggest culprits with cholesterol that's high, but there's nothing wrong with cholesterol in and of itself. Cholesterol is really important to your body. But in order for your body to have cholesterol that's high, something has to be going on, right? So it's an indication that something is out of balance somewhere in the body, and they need to do their due diligence, figure it out with more diagnostic work so he will know exactly what the problem is. Now, the OsteoFX Plus is sweet on purpose because there's liquid magnesium in there, and liquid magnesium is so bitter that if there wasn't a sweetener, you wouldn't be able to swallow it. I mean, you wouldn't even be able to keep it behind your lips for a nanosecond. It's really, really, really bitter. Now, there are workarounds for that. You can dilute it in more water. You can dilute it in orange juice. You can put it in a smoothie in the morning. And if none of that works for you, just switch it out to a different product called Cal Toddy. C-A-L, T like Thomas, O, D like David, D like David, Y. Cal Toddy. That's also in the Youngevity family of products. It's made by a company called SupraLife, which is a subsidiary of Youngevity. So as a Youngevity person, you have access to the Cal Toddy. Check that out instead. And when you mix Cal Toddy with orange juice, it tastes exactly like a creamsicle. We've got you covered. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Peter Glidden. Check me out on the World Wide Web at fireyourmdnow.com.